welcome to the show. Today, we're going to be talking about my reaction to the Barcelona-Catalunya Grand Prix. And to see how well my predictions did, I'll just be going back over those and then talking a little bit about the race. So let's talk a little bit about the race first. Kimi Antonelli, not able to finish. Charles Leclerc, not able to finish. To be fair, it was pretty exciting overall. I think a lot of unexpected things happened during this race as well. I think overall it was one of the better Barcelonas that I've seen in the past. So I thoroughly enjoyed the race. I hope you did. I was very excited going into this race, and I was a little bit disappointed with the result, but at the same time, Lewis Hamilton wins. So first time we have a non-Mercedes driver being at the top step. So this could be a very big deal, and it could be a title changer. And I mean, imagine if Lewis bests Charles this season and then potentially fights for a title as well. I don't think he'll be retiring next year. With that out of the way, let's talk a little bit about my predictions. First up, my bold prediction. My prediction was that McLaren was going to be the second best constructor. So, in terms of qualifying, this one is kind of tricky because in terms of qualifying, not really. They didn't have the pace for it. But in terms of the race, the team of McLaren and the team of Ferrari tied for 25 points collectively. By that logic, you could say that they tied for first, or they tied for second, or because Hamilton won, it's first and second, which is how I would see it. So that means McLaren, number 2 this week. Boom, spot on prediction. They didn't actually perform very well as a team for the qualifying, but who else are we going to say is better? Because both Mercedes and Ferrari had issues with one of their cars, and subsequently they would have been a better constructor if they wouldn't have had those issues with the car. So check that one off. I even preemptively said after qualifying that it was over. I put an X over McLaren because I didn't think they were going to do this well, and 25 points is 25 points. So congratulations to McLaren for tying for first or getting second because you didn't win the race. Now, for my championship leader prediction, this was for Kimi Antonelli. I predicted him to win another race along with 2 of my commenters. 2 people also predicted, I think Drew Tusick, one predicted it. I think it was Arroyo that predicted Kimi would win first and get 6 in a row. I think we might have cursed it because he didn't win. Matter of fact, he didn't finish. However, just a quick little side note here. Strategy aside, Antonelli did get past George Russell before the end of the race. As a matter of fact, as soon as he got past George Russell, his car lit on fire basically and just stopped. I mean, it didn't actually light on fire. If you watch the race, it just shut off. Kind of the same thing that happened to George actually. So, an eye for an eye, I guess. Not quite the P1 that we were expecting. Overall, he still had a very good race, and had he finished P2, it really would have been a non-factor. And that's to say that he did well enough in qualifying and well enough in the race that he easily would have been in the top of the points and had no real threat to his championship position. It's just that Lewis happened to win and Kimi happened to not finish the race at all without any points. So now the gap looks less, and in reality, I think a lot of people are saying that Hamilton is now going to be on the offensive, but like I said, if Kimi just finishes races and he does as well as he's been doing at maybe minus 1 or 2 places, there's no way they come and catch up. It's just not going to happen. Because if he keeps the form that he's got right now, second and third will do it for him because George does not have it every single weekend. That one didn't go so well. We can now go to my biggest loser, which was predicted to be Red Bull. I would say a double point finish is not a biggest loser because when you have Max Verstappen finishing in 4th and you have Isaac Hadjar finishing in 6th, for Red Bull, that is a very good result. And that is something that you will absolutely take if you are on the Red Bull team. So I would probably say that Kimi Antonelli's got to be the loser this week. Being 4 laps away from finishing and having your car shut off, it could be Charles Leclerc having 2 abysmal performances back to back. Charles and Kimi, I would say between those 2, Charles is probably the biggest loser in terms of overall mentality and feel because the last 2 weeks have been really tough for him. But at the same time, I would say that Kimi Antonelli definitely loses in terms of points for the championship. And then we had my unique prediction, which was Carlos Sainz is going to get a point this week. Carlos Sainz was not able to get his 11th point at this particular race. It was very unfortunate. You love to see Carlos Sainz do well, even in a Williams, but I think it was just a little too much and they just didn't have the qualifying pace this week. Not really too surprising. It was a unique prediction for sure, and just didn't cash on that one this time around. But there's not really much else to say about this one. I think he did a good job with what he was doing and how he was racing. So if you look at Alex Albon, right, he did pretty good. So that's all there really is for that. And then for my midfield prediction, I said that Audi will have a good race weekend. I was so close to being right. But then Hülkenberg had a random DNF because Liam Lawson kicked up some gravel and it turned off his, I think it hit his safety switch that just turned everything off. Hülkenberg was in the points, which is part of my prediction as well, because I said that I thought that Hülkenberg was actually going to qualify in P3. I thought he was going to finally make it to P3, and he did. I didn't say anything about his race result, but I said Audi for another part of this would have a good race weekend, and Hülkenberg was not able to finish, and they would have finished, I think it would have been like P9 or P10, and then Bortoleto would have been P12, which would have been almost exactly what I predicted. But again, Hülkenberg DNF'd, extremely unlucky for him. I would say they had a okay race weekend, but not quite a good race weekend. So I can't take the point for this one either. And then for my backfield prediction, I had Sergio Perez getting out qualified by Valtteri Bottas, which again, didn't happen. Guys, this was a really abysmal week for me. I almost went 0 for 7. I mean, this was almost really, really bad. But like I said, I got the Hülkenberg prediction. He did make it to Q3. That was another unique prediction I made. And then obviously the bold prediction I got right. Sergio Perez did out-qualify Valtteri Bottas this week, so that didn't go according to plan either. But to finish it all off, once again, I got the DNF prediction right. Alex Albon did, in fact, DNF this race, and I think it turned out exactly how I said it was going to turn out. He didn't get in a crash. He was unable to finish the race, probably due to some car issues, and he had to just retire, and he couldn't make it to the end. I mean, that's all that happened, and that's exactly right, bullseye for that one. So I'll take it all day long. That was a good prediction by me. And I'm looking forward to the next race. I believe it's the Austrian GP. That'll be pretty fun. It'll be interesting to see how Ferrari rebounds. You know, things seem to be on an even playing field, but I still don't believe it. I think Ferrari's still behind. I think they got a good race strategy this weekend. I think that's why Lewis won. And I think that everyone is kind of overhyping the fact that Lewis got a victory. I do think that he had a little bit more pace this weekend, but I also think that the two Mercedes, especially George, were a little bit more focused on fighting each other than actually focused on Lewis Hamilton. I think George's goal was to keep Antonelli behind him, and he was unable to do that until Antonelli had to retire the car. And for that reason, I actually think that I think Antonelli still got this championship in the bag. So let me know down below if you think that Kimi Antonelli is still set to win this championship, or if you think that someone else other than George Russell, Lewis Hamilton, might actually win the championship. So let me know in the comments down below, and I will talk to you all in the next one. Make sure to subscribe so that way you get the next videos, because I'm coming out with the problem with every F1 GOAT video, and it is going to be one of the best videos I've ever made. So be sure to subscribe and tune in for that one when it comes out. All right, see you later. Peace.